This video will review the appointment setting procedure. Setting an accurate appointment with as much information as possible not only benefits the customer and the technician, but ultimately you as a service advisor, as it will give you greater control over the workflow through the shop. The first step is to get agreement from the customer to set the appointment. Most people who call the shop have already decided to set an appointment. However, there are some that call and want an estimate or a diagnosis over the phone. Those phone calls require different handling to get agreement, which will be addressed in a separate video. Either way, once the customer agrees to set an appointment, you can move on to the appointment setting procedure. You're going to use the appointment request notepad or diagnostic checklist to make notes about the appointment while speaking to the customer. These forms look like this. This is the diagnostic checklist for appointment setting and can be found on a clipboard up by the front counter. This is the appointment request form and can be found in a notepad version. So it's not going to be a full sheet of paper like this, but rather a singular notepad that should be available by every phone within the shop. You will notice that both forms ask for the customer's name if you haven't already written it down and whether or not they have been in before. If they are an existing customer, it is helpful to look at their customer information history while you are setting the appointment. For this example, we will use my customer history. Double click on my name, and from here you can view my information, my spending habits, types of vehicles that I have, any estimates or open work orders that might be there, as well as any previous invoices and repair history. Appointments will be set in real time, which means that you set the drop-off time for when the vehicle is to be brought into the shop. Sometimes people do not want to drop off the vehicle and prefer to wait at the shop until the work has been completed. These are referred to as waiters and can only be scheduled on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. These times have been purposely and specifically picked to avoid the beginning of the week, the end of the week, as well as first thing in the morning, the very last part of the end of the day, and or lunch breaks. We limit the availability for waiter appointments because waiters tend to be difficult appointments, as it limits our ability to upsell and offers very little room to maneuver if the repair process takes longer than normal due to unforeseen circumstances. Therefore, knowing if the customer will be dropping off or waiting is important to know before selecting available time slots. After determining what kind of appointment the customer needs, drop-off, waiter, oil change, diagnostic, technician consultation, breaks, etc., find 1 to 2 available time slots for the customer to choose. I usually choose 2 different times on 2 different days to give the customer the ability to choose the best option for them. We choose the time slots for them because if you ask the customer which time and day works best for them, inevitably they will choose a time that won't work for the schedule, and then the process turns frustrating for them. If the customer is unable to make the time slots that you have previously chosen, at that point in time you can ask them what days work best for them, and then you can try to fit it in. Otherwise, try to get them in on those 1 to 2 time slots that you originally picked out. After getting the rest of the information, such as vehicle year, make, model, and whether or not a shuttle service will be needed that day, advise the customer that you will be texting or emailing them a copy of their work order and to approve the work within the work order and add any notes before arrival. If they are a new customer and want the work order emailed, make sure to get their email address. After the appointment has been set with the customer and the phone has been hung up, set up the appointment on the shop scheduler. For this purpose, we are going to create a new customer who wants a drop-off appointment for an oil change with Dallas. In some circumstances, you may not know who will be servicing the vehicle, so just create an appointment in the unassigned column. Try to keep the vehicle with the same technician if the vehicle has been seen before, as the technician is already familiar with the vehicle, especially if it's related to a previous repair or as a past recommendation. Enter the customer's first and last name here. And a brief description of the work to be performed here. If the customer has been in before and has a previous estimate or work order that has been created, you can start typing in their name here and it will bring up a list of any previous estimates and or work orders. That way it will allow you to automatically select that work order to be paired up with the appointment. However, this is a brand new one, so we're not going to be using that box this time. We're just going to go automatically to new estimate. Select the service advisor from the drop-down menu, which will be the service advisor for that selected technician. Select any necessary labels for the appointment here. Some labels to note are flat rack, shuttle drop-off, and waiter. We can filter the schedule to view appointments with these labels, and having these appointments properly labeled helps us in our production meetings. Add due in and due out time if the customer gave you one. The due in time is the appointed vehicle time, so that's going to be 9 o'clock, which is already in there. And the due out time is whenever the vehicle needs to be done and does not necessarily reflect how long it will take to do the actual work. So in this particular instance, the customer is going to be dropping off at 9 o'clock or before, but they don't need the vehicle back until the end of the day. So we're going to put the same date in here, and then we're going to change the time to 5 o'clock. If the customer is pre-existing, then you can start typing their name in this box and it will bring up a list of customers that have that name. However, this customer is new, so we will add them. Enter first and last name, phone number, and the rest of the information will be gathered when they come into the shop. If the vehicle is new, do not add the vehicle information yet, unless you have the license plate from the customer when making the appointment. Once you enter year, make, and model, and the system will not allow you to decode the VIN from the license plate once the vehicle has been brought in. You can enter the plates and VIN manually, but it's kind of a pain. Instead, put the vehicle information up here in this box so parts can be pre-ordered as needed. Note the customer's source for why they are making the appointment today. The first time the customer comes in, this source is automatically recorded as the source for why they were brought to us as a new customer. Every subsequent RO after that, this source is recorded as to why they're in there for that particular day. This customer found out about us from one of our direct mailers, Every Door direct mailers, that is being sent out, and he's bringing it in for our Getting Acquainted special. So we're going to put EDDM right there. We don't know his best contact information yet. We're going to ask him on the day of the appointment. Build all services in the notes section, which then can be sent to the customer for approval. apply any discounts or specials that the customer will be using to the total at the end. Use the notes pertaining to the appointment using the customer's words if possible. Notes about the work order, customer, or vehicle can be put up here in these boxes. Once the vehicle information has been added, a third box will appear with the vehicle in here. These notes cannot be seen by the customer as long as they are in one of these 2 or 3 boxes up here. Anything down here in these boxes and below, anything that's published to the work order, the customer will be able to view on their end. Check billed hours and return to the scheduler to adjust the length of the appointment. Billed hours can be checked here if it has not been added to the work order yet, or if it has been added to the work order, you can check up here. Check for accuracy. And then we're going to share this with the customer. We can text or send an email if we have their available email address. We are now ready to exit out of the work order. As you can see, our appointment is right here. It's set at an hour, which is how long the appointment's going to take, as reflected by the billed hours. As always, if you have any questions, please let your manager know and they will be happy to assist you. This completes the appointment setting procedure.